So, it started with a list, not a speech, not a press conference, not even a midnight tweet spelled wrong in a fit of rage, just a list. Published on April 2nd, buried on some government trade site. A dry, soul-sucking PDF, one that nobody was supposed to read, except maybe trade nerds, customs agents, and that one sad intern still pretending their poli-sci degree meant something. But there it was, just sitting there, black and white. The tariff list, a long, boring compilation of what America would be punishing next in the name of national security, economic strength, and whatever else the slogan needed that week. And tucked right in between steel parts from Brazil and semiconductors from Taiwan was this: Heard Island and McDonald Islands. Tariffs, 20%. Immediate. No context. No footnote. Most people saw that and thought it was a typo, because unless you're a polar scientist or a shipwrecked explorer, you've probably never heard of Heard. But that's the point. No one lives there. There are no ports, no airports, no roads, no Starbucks. Just a frozen, uninhabitable mass of rock and snow, technically Australian territory, drifting in the sub-Antarctic, home to exactly 0 humans, and thousands of penguins. That's right. Penguins. Trump had declared war on penguins, and nobody knew why. For a full 24 hours, even the White House didn't offer a statement. Not that it would have helped. Behind closed doors, aides were reportedly stunned. One was overheard saying, "We thought it was a joke." Then he signed it. Others blamed misclassified trade data or a clerical error from 2009. But that didn't explain why Trump had circled the island's name himself with a red Sharpie, or why he had been muttering about birds during a North Carolina rally the week before. Let's go back. 2 weeks earlier, Trump was in full campaign mode, standing at a rally podium, rambling through the usual hits: Sleepy Joe, windmill conspiracies, water pressure. But then, unprompted, he paused, squinted into the crowd and said it. You know who's not paying their fair share? The animals. I'm serious. These penguins. Look it up. Laughter. Nervous applause. One guy in the front row yelled, "Tax the birds!" Everyone chuckled. Even Hannity shrugged it off. But when Trump got back to Mar-a-Lago that night, somewhere between his 4th Diet Coke and scrolling Truth Social, he typed 3 words into Google: penguins, tax loophole. From that moment on, it was over. The next morning, staffers were summoned. A surprise meeting, the kind where people check to make sure they're not being filmed. Trade advisors, a no AA rep who definitely didn't sign up for this, and one very confused intern with a map of Antarctica. Trump burst in, holding grainy satellite photos. This island. Heard. Nobody lives there, right? But it's on trade manifests. Why? Silence. I'll tell you why. Because they're hiding stuff there, routing shipments, just like Panama, just like Ireland. This is the new thing. Penguin laundering. One aide coughed. The NOAA rep raised a hand. Trump waved her off. I already know. I'm 2 steps ahead. These penguins, they don't even have passports. And by the end of the day, it was done. An executive order. A hus Shazalekos tariff. No press, no cameras. Just ink and paper, signed with the same Sharpie he used on the hurricane map. Australia's government was blindsided. Their foreign minister issued a statement. We are confused. There are no exports from these islands. There are no people there. Only penguins and seals. Perhaps this is a mistake. But Trump didn't respond. And on Truth Social, Trump wrote, and I quote, "Some people are mad about the penguins. Sorry, not sorry. If you take advantage of the US, we're gonna fight back, even if you're black and white and can't fly. Hashtag America first. Hashtag tariff that. It was real. It was official. and the internet exploded. Jimmy Kimmel spent 2 nights roasting the decision. Colbert brought out a guy in a tuxedo costume to reenact a fake trial. Even Fox News looked uncomfortable. But Trump wasn't backing down. On Fox Business, he doubled down. People don't get it. The globalists, very smart, very sneaky. If you wanted to smuggle a microchip or a missile or a spy bird, I'm not saying they are. But if you wanted to, you'd use an island nobody checks. And I mean, nobody. And just like that, penguins were now part of the 2025 campaign trail. In Washington, trade officials tried to do damage control. One press release read, "There is no known commercial activity on the Heard or McDonald Islands. They are uninhabited, remote, and ecologically protected." But no one in the White House read it. And Trump? He printed it out and scrawled over it in red. That's what they want you to think. Next came the memes. Twitter was flooded with fake penguin passports. Someone posted an image of a penguin in a business suit, smuggling microchips in a briefcase. A TikTok creator staged a fake protest in front of the U.S. Embassy in Canberra, all penguins holding signs, "I just want to swim," and "Tariff this, Donnie." Greenpeace released a real statement. Penguins are non-political and do not engage in trade activity. Trump reposted it. Caption, "Defending the penguins, huh? Interesting." And then came the first casualty. A Florida-based skincare brand called Arctic Pure Water LLC had been importing glacier meltwater, sourced legally from near the Antarctic Circle, bottled for luxury spas. But due to a shipping label mishap, the point of origin was listed as Heard Island Sector. That was all it took. U.S. Customs seized the cargo. 12 pallets of snow water, gone. Fined. Tariffed at 20%. The CEO sobbed on CNBC. It's water, from a place no one lives. The penguins didn't even touch it. Trump's response? Should have sourced American. The base loved it. Penguin plushies started appearing at rallies. Some wore little red MAGA hats. Others had "Tax This" written across their bellies. A man in Des Moines unveiled a tattoo of a penguin holding a flamethrower. Underneath it read, "Those pesky penguins had it coming." Late-night comics tried to keep up. Australian news anchors blinked through their scripts in disbelief. Even Tucker Carlson, broadcasting independently now, offered only one sentence. "I don't know what's happening anymore." But inside the Trump camp, this was strategy. Distraction, outrage, entertainment. It didn't matter that it was nonsense. It mattered that people were talking. One White House insider admitted, he read an article once about Chinese trade routes using obscure ports. He fixated on the word island. Then he saw penguins. That was all it took. Some argued it was just a data error. Others believed it was a metaphor, a symbol of his war against the elite. Cold, white, suited figures waddling through bureaucracy. But maybe it was something simpler. Maybe he just really didn't like the cold. And then came the final straw. Trump, filmed on a golf cart at sunset, looked straight into the camera and said, "We're looking at other islands. Lots of them. Some with seals. Some with very suspicious wildlife. Stay tuned." When asked if that included the Galapagos, he smiled. Not ruling anything out. The Australian government stopped responding. The United Nations issued a brief statement. Penguins are not economic actors. And yet, the tariffs remained. Because in Trump's America, absurdity isn't a glitch. It's the main feature. A hurricane with a Sharpie. Bleach is a cure. Nuking a storm. Now? Tariffs on uninhabited islands. A trade war waged against penguins. No one ever explained how the mistake got on the list. Or who checked it. Or why no one removed it. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was a test. Or maybe, just maybe, it was the truest snapshot of this political moment. A frozen island, a sharp pen, a president fighting imaginary enemies in real time. Because in the end, it wasn't about tariffs, or penguins, or trade. It was about control, about spectacle, about saying, I can do this, and who's gonna stop me? And as the world watched, shivering in disbelief, Donald Trump picked a fight with Antarctica. This is the irony. And that's the irony. So, disclaimer. This video is a work of satire and fiction. It is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be interpreted as fact, news, or a representation of real events. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental.